Hi, it's your favorite coaches from Anatomy again, and we're here today to talk about hip power. As Coach Uno is demonstrating right now with the kettlebell swing, you have a lot of power in your hip. Learn how to use it properly. You'll be able to enter a whole new world of strength and athleticism. Today we're going to show you guys how you can harness that power. We can start by reviewing the two primary types of movement or terms of motion in functional fitness: flexion and extension. We can best describe flexion as shortening of an angle and extension as extending or increasing the angle. In CrossFit, we see these primarily in the squat and hip hinge, the hip hinge being the most explosive of the two. A squat is performed in a standing position with the objective being to move the hip joints as close to the ground as possible. This is achieved through flexion in three joints: hip, knees, and ankles. The muscles primarily used are the quads and glutes. The torso should not break to 45-degree angle and stay as upright as possible. A hip hinge is performed in a standing position with the objective being to move the torso in a horizontal plane by flexing the hip joints. We also see secondary flexion in the knees. This allows the hips to flex further, allowing for better distribution of the weight. If the ankle joints move, the movement changes to a squat. The muscles primarily used are the hamstrings and the glutes, or posterior chain. With flexion achieved, the hamstring is stretched and posterior chain activated. By moving in a more vertical plane, we lose the neutral spine and start rounding our backs, which deactivates the hamstring, depleting the energy and force. Since a hip hinge is achieved only using one primary flexion, as opposed to three in a squat, it can generate the most dynamic power. To demonstrate this, let's take a look at the kettlebell swing as a perfect example. The kettlebell swing is accomplished by swinging the kettlebell up vertically to our shoulder. We can efficiently do this by using our hips. When loading the hips and hamstrings for the kettlebell swing, athletes will slightly bend the knees and send the hips back. In this position, both the hips and the knees are flexed. The power in the swing comes from snapping the legs back into extension. If done correctly, the kettlebell will feel weightless as it travels up. Squeezing the quad and hips hard at the finish will help athletes find this powerful extension and make sure the posterior chain stays active for the descent and the next rep. If our knees bend too much and the squat is utilized instead, we will find three flexed joints instead of using the primary hip and the hip hinge. This will compromise the power chain and result in using the arms and shoulders to swing the kettlebell up. So now that we know the potential of the power in our hips, here's a good prep work that you can do next time you have kettlebell swings in a workout and would like to get into that proper movement. First, start off with kettlebell deadlifts. You can do 5 reps here. After the 5 reps, you can proceed over to stiff leg deadlifts. In this position, you want to keep your knees above your ankles and not bring them forward. You don't want to get into a squat position, so only the hip hinge. After being comfortable with 5 stiff deadlifts, you can proceed with 5 half Russian kettlebell swings, using only your hips to move the kettlebell up. Once this is a comfortable movement, you can proceed with 5 full kettlebell swings, either to your shoulder as a Russian or overhead if the workout demands for American. If you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and share. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more quick tips and videos.